Well, today is part 6 of the 8-part series of Wake Up, and maybe I will wake up, that is. I don't know. We're at the end now of about 2 days worth of storms that have been significant and tore some things up. But I notice like my dogs, they just want to lay around and sleep. I kind of feel the same way. And I think sometimes when those big heavy storms come in that it kind of maybe affects us that way. And I'm reaching for my coffee because this is very important today. But anyway, I think that maybe, if these storms, I think that the worst of it's over. Like right now, it is very, very overcast, and there's a lot of flooding and stuff going on. But the wind's not blowing, the rain's not pouring. We got over 4 inches of rain at our house, so I think it's going away. It did this to us once before, or twice before, and then it would come in again. So I'm kind of hoping this is it. So today, coffee and a chat. I have my favorite mug, and in it I have coffee that today's video brought to you by my friend Gail. So this morning when I got, she said there was a delivery coming. I should be watching for it today. So my morning coffee was waiting for me, a big can of coffee that she sent me. And it's good. It's got chicory in it too. And it's a medium ground coffee, which I like that so much better than when they do that really fine powdery. I don't like that. So I like a more coarsely ground coffee. And so this is, and it's got chicory in it, and I love chicory. This fall, I hope to harvest a lot of dandelion root to get me through the winter, because the best coffee is dandelion root and chicory, I think. I know it's a coffee substitute, but for those backyard herbalists like me, we like it. Okay, it's got so many health benefits. And even if, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just mix it in with some coffee, and then, oh man, then I've got the best of all these worlds, and I can really tell myself it's healthy, right? Okay, so thank you, Gail, for this morning's coffee, and coffee for many days, weeks, months. No, I won't. I drink too much for it to make months, but for many weeks to come. Thank you. And I also want to say hi to her son, Brandon. And a lot of you guys won't understand any of this, but Brandon, thumbs up. And don't do it, SpongeBob. Okay, he'll understand. And eyes, you got your eyes on? Yeah, he'll know. So, anyway, yeah, today's video brought to you by Gail and Brandon. So, all right. So what we're really supposed to be talking about, now that I've taken almost 4 minutes to talk about Gail and Brandon and coffee, 3 of my favorite things, right? We're going to get to what number 5 on the list is, even though this is part 6. And that is of what God told me to be doing to change in my life. And that was to live on less. Now at the time, because this was 2015 when he said, wake up and here's 7 things, girl, that you need to do or step up, things that you're already doing, but you need to step it up. And this live on less, sometimes when God talks to us, we don't know, because it's like everything's fine, but we don't always know what's coming, but he does. And so I've tried to learn to remind myself that God knows a whole lot more than I do. And so if he says to do something to me, then I need to pay attention. So live on less. Well, at the time, we were, we had our moments. Like I said, I think in yesterday's video, is when we were, on our winter hours, our income went way down, but our summer schedule, the income went way up. And so we would usually try to put some of that summer income away to help carry us through the winter, because that's the smart thing to do, right? Well, live on less. Okay, how do you live on less? Well, the first thing was we didn't really have debt. My husband has never in his life ever had a credit card, ever. And I'll tell you, oh man, that's good. that is really, really good. I know that, like my parents, they always had this credit card where they would get cash rewards and then they'd pay it off each month. And, and so, for them, they saw that as a financial boost. But the truth is, and I know other people that do that too, and that's really good. But I also know people who do that, and then they have that month when they can't quite pay it off, and that's when you fall into, I think, from my personal experience, into the trap of the credit card, when you start carrying a balance there and the interest and making those payments, and it's just too easy to spend money that you don't have. You're borrowing that money every time you go out to spend it. So I had a credit card when we got married, and I paid it off and got rid of it. And because that's how he was, like, he's never had a credit card. And I was like, you know what, this is a bad crutch for me. And so I'm going to get rid of it. In fact, you know what? I might still have had it. This might be when I got rid of it, because I know I did still have it for a while after we were married. And then it was like, you know what? So this probably is what sparked me to just go ahead and get rid of that thing. So we had a few little debts that we were trying to, that were almost done. Some that my husband had when we got married, that were almost paid off. And so, and the only other real debt that we had was our home. And that mortgage, mortgages. Oh, don't you just love those? Really gets you. See, Gail DC, I'm really doing coffee in the chat today. This is good. Okay. So, with living on less, it's like, okay, so the main thing is get rid of debts. Now, we didn't have any car payments. My car I had paid off before I even met my husband. So I was driving a car that was paid for. His vehicles were paid for, and we only pay cash. Since we've been married, we had to buy a few vehicles, but we only pay cash. If we can't afford it with cash, then we don't need it. And so we did, with this live on less, okay, there's this, if we don't have enough cash to buy something, then we're not getting it. Because my husband did sometimes, borrow money to get some things. And I had kind of already been moving in that direction of, I didn't really want to borrow money, because I hate to ever owe money, because what if something happens and then here you're stuck and you can't make the payment. So we both came to agreement that we would pay off what little things were left, and we would not incur any more debt. And we haven't. So right now, the only debt we're carrying is our mortgage. We paid those other things off. We paid them quick. So that was the first step that we did in living on less, is that and we trimmed back our monthly budget down to, there were a lot of little extras that we had, subscriptions to some things and all. It's like, you know what? We can let them go. Kind of like, when I was down, with my downsizing of the house, because I'm still doing it, but with my downsizing of the house, if it's not serving a purpose, if I don't need it, if it's consuming a bunch of electricity and I can do it in some way that doesn't consume electricity, let it go. And, and it was the same thing in the budget. We had things in our budget that, do we really need this? And there were some things that it's really easy to get subscriptions that you're paying and you forget you even have, whatever the benefit is, or, memberships to things that, to grocery stores you never go to, or what. We started cleaning all that stuff out of our budget. And So we can live on very little money, not as little as I would like it to be. But when our mortgage is gone, which it will be here before too long, it'll be completely paid off because we always pay extra. Even if you only send $5 extra on each payment, it knocks things off on the other end, depending on how high your interest rate is and how many payments you have left. And so we've really focused on trying to pay that mortgage off, and we will continue to focus on that until it's gone. And then the other thing, was like the consuming of electricity and stuff. Did we need to consume as much as we were? Were we being careless? So I think that this living on less really taught us to be better stewards of what we had and what we were doing and how we used our money. And so we trimmed things way back. And I'll tell you, here's where we didn't know there was going to be a pandemic. We didn't know there was going to be inflation. We didn't know a lot of these things, but we already were cutting back. We didn't know my husband was going to lose his job. We didn't know he wasn't going to be able to get another one. We didn't know that we were going to become dependent on building our own little business to survive. And so we didn't know that my parents were going to pass away when they did. There just was a lot of things that had financial impacts on us or had impacts on the world. But for us, we've come through those things a lot better than some people that we know because we had already been preparing for it. We just didn't know that's what we were preparing for. And every month when I sit down to pay the bills, we're trying to cut things down as much as we can. We shopped out our car insurance and found we could get a lot lower rates with another company. And we gave up cable TV. And there's just a lot of stuff that if we need to live on less, then we need to consume less, right? And so that's what Marvin and I have done and continue to do and will continue to do. Now, we're at a place now, because we don't have a lot of income. We don't have a lot of money, and prices do keep going up. So it's even more important to us now, but, we're kind of there's not a whole lot more to trim, but we do where we need to. But I know for us, like our electric bill is probably higher than a lot of people's just because there's a lot of things with my husband's business that requires electricity, a lot of electricity. And when he has to use different pieces of equipment and all. So, we've been cutting down and trying to learn to live without electricity. And we've come up with, we have backups to, it's not just electricity, but fuel, for tractors and mowers and trucks and, but those are things he needs to make a living. But I know we had, now I don't even know what they're called, but like those little hand plows, like the old ones, it's got one wheel with a little plow behind it and two handles and you push it. Well, we have 3 different ones of those because each one has a different, type of a blade on it, and they do different things. And we had, I think, one, and somebody gave us another one, and then we found one, or I don't know. But anyway, we ended up with 3. They needed new handles. My husband went out, bought some wood, and made great handles for them. And I used those in my garden this summer. There were several times I'm out there. Every time I'd go out to the mailbox, I'd plow a couple of rows or hoe a couple of rows with those things, and they work great. And it requires you to be the energy that makes it work. But it's like, I know that even if we couldn't afford gas, I can still plow my garden. And I think that's the thing that has, with this learning to live on less, it's made me think, what do I do if I can't get this? And it's driven me and Marvin too. Sometimes I think more me than him, but into being more self-sufficient. like I had said on one of the other videos, what do you do when there is no toilet paper? Because we went through a toilet paper shortage where you couldn't get toilet paper. People were buying it up, and then there wasn't any for people. And so I went on YouTube and looked for alternatives. There were a couple things I knew with some plants that you can use. Well, I know the pioneers what used to use pine cones or something. Yeah, I wasn't quite that desperate, but I found some different alternatives that people had, and I had the materials I needed. And so I went ahead and made up and started implementing my backup toilet paper. And that has saved us money for it. Now, I'm just the one doing it, and I'm not going to go into all the gross details of explaining it. If you want to know what I do and how it works, then you can go over and see Heidi at Rain Country is her channel, and find the one on where she shows what her backup for toilet paper and how she uses it and everything. She'll give you all the gory details. If I can figure out how to put a link in something, I'll put a link in. If I know that I would know how to share a link to your email. So if you really want to know and you can't find her, then email me. My email is probably going to be in the description of this video. I try to remember to do that. If not, go to my page, and on the about part, it does have my email. And you can email me and I'll send you the link, as long as I'm not getting too many emails and I can keep up with everything. I'll do the best I can, but I have a very, very full schedule. Okay. So I'm not going to just sit all day and send links to Heidi at Rain Country, but I think most of you, if you're watching this video, you know your way around YouTube, and probably some of you already watch her. So she's got some great videos on all kinds of things if you're into like off-grid living and self-sustainability. She's just one of many channels. There's a lot of channels that I enjoy for different purposes, but that's where I got the solution to my problem on that. And what about, I used to use an electric coffee maker, and that was taking up electricity. And then I was like, years ago, I had a glass stovetop percolator like my grandma had that I fought my son-in-law Chuck for at a yard sale, and I won. I found it first. I don't remember. I just remember we were at a yard sale together and we both saw it, and I ended up with it. But then and I had that for a lot of years, and then somebody broke it. And so then I was without, and I've always wanted to replace it. And I was talking to my friend Gail, and we were talking about it, and she was looking, because I couldn't find a whole one that had all the pieces and didn't have like the aluminum, because I don't want aluminum innards. And and I just couldn't find one like what I had. And then when I did find one, they wanted like $100 and something. And what did I pay for that one, Chuck? Wasn't it like $10 or something like that at the yard sale? Yeah, I ain't paying the $100 and something. So anyway, I was at a thrift store, and stuck in the back, I was looking after I'd been talking to Gail. There was a stovetop, not just like the one my grandma had, but it'll do. It's like from the 70s, but a stovetop percolator with all the parts not broken, and they wanted $3. So that's what I use. And now I'm looking for one that will, one of the enamel ones that'll go on my wood stove, because I need one for that. So anyway, yeah, so you're getting all this information again, aren't you, about how Angie's brain works. It doesn't work very good most of the time, you guys. But, but when I pray about things, because I will say this about me, if you're trying to hint at something and trying to beat around the bush and trying to get me to figure something out, I am a total airhead, dumb blonde. And maybe 3 months from now, I'll go, ow! I am slow. I'm not going to get it. It just doesn't work for me. I mean, God made me blonde for a reason. But when God tells me something, oh, I know. Let me tell you, there were things that my kids tried to get away with at times when they were growing up. And then God would say, you want to know where your kid is? Here's where your kid's at. And you want to know what's going on? Go open that drawer over there. You'll know what's going on. You know, he would lead me and guide me, and I would know stuff. And they'd be like, how did you know that? You know, because they knew mom's a little on the slow side, but mom with Jesus talking to her, no. Oh, it's a whole nother me, that's for sure. So, so unless God reveals something to me, but I try to talk to him about stuff. So, what do I do? Oh, I've got an electric pencil sharpener, Lord. That probably needs to go. Where can I find a hand crank one? And then my husband goes, hey, look what I just found. There's the pencil sharpener. On it goes. So living on less has also helped me move more towards the practical, and when something's practical. And I've got a clothesline, which is good. My dryer's going out, so the clothesline. And on rainy days, like what we've had, stormy days, well, I'll tell you what, I've got 4 bathrooms in my house. And that's because my parents were living with us. And it's a long story, but I've got 4 bathrooms. Not that I want 4 bathrooms. There's only 2 of us that live here, and that's a lot of bathrooms to clean. But I have 4 bathrooms, which means I have 4 shower rods, and they make great clotheslines in a pinch, especially the one bathroom that's just there where the wood stove is. In the winter, I can hang stuff up there, and the air is moving because I can put a fan on them, and that hot air is coming in from that wood stove and just, man, dry stuff up really nice. So learning to live on less. Well, that's kind of my journey in a 22-minute nutshell. So much for a short video. I may remake this video. We'll see. Or I may just play it as it is. But if you stuck with me to the end of this video, because I really didn't want it to be this long, all I can say is, I'm not saying that what God's told me to do is what he's telling you to do, or what I'm doing is what you should do. But if there's anything in my story that maybe does, hit a spark with you, or make you think, maybe I could make a change or something, I tell you, it doesn't hurt, not in this day and age, because they'll tell us that the prices are coming down. And I think I've shared this before. They told us there was something about this one grocery store, and they'd lowered the prices, and I went to get something. Well, they'd lowered it like by 2 cents. But the next week when I went in, they'd raised it back up another 50 cents. So, this whole inflation, recession, depression, whatever you feel about it, wherever you think we are, I think we can all agree the prices are going up. And in my lifetime, I've not seen the prices come down. Okay. They go up, and they might come down just a tad, but then they keep going up because I don't even know what a postage stamp is now. And because I have forever stamps, and I had bought a bunch a ways back, and so I haven't had to buy a postage stamp. Well, I went online, and what did it say? 63 cents or something like that. And I'm like, I still have 8 cents postage stamps left from when I was a kid. That's what I used to put on a letter to mail to somebody. Yeah, if you would have told us back then that we were going to be paying 63 cents, we wouldn't have believed you. So, or we wouldn't have believed we would have done it. But I don't know. Next year, will we be paying $1 for one first-class stamp? I don't know. But I do know that we better tighten up our belts. And we've gone too long anyway, so let me throw one more thing in there. As food prices kept going up, and and our income wasn't going up, and we used to joke about we can always give up groceries, and then it started going, maybe it's not a joke, we might have to. And, just struggling to making ends meet. And I was at a food pantry. Praise God for the food pantries. And that has got us through some tough times. So I was at a food pantry, and I, had been telling my husband, asking him, what do you think people are doing? How are they making it? Well, it was starting to be where there were more and more people showing up at the food pantries. And now our food pantries are running very low and sometimes out of food. But one of the workers at the food pantry, there was a lady, she was saying, I feel so bad that I have to do this, and I don't like charity and blah, blah, blah. And one of the gals at the food pantry, she goes, well, don't be feeling bad about it. Things are hitting all of us. And she goes, I may be, you know, coming to the food pantry to get food too shortly, because she goes, I'm not sure what we're going to do. And the gal goes, well, what do you mean? And she goes, well, I kept thinking this thing was going to blow over, right? And my husband and I both did. And we thought, well, things will get back to normal. We just need to just buy a little time until things get back to the way they used to be. So she goes, so we kept using our credit cards to buy gas and groceries and, you know, and whatever, so that we could just keep living like we had been. She said, but now we have, I don't remember, I think she said 3 credit cards, all maxed out. We tried to apply to get another one and we were denied. And she goes, I'm not sure how we're going to make the payments on these. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. But she goes, I'm out of options of how to go to the grocery store. And I thought, oh my word, is that what people are doing? Are they? And then I have found several other people that, yes, that is what they've done, is they've used credit cards to try to keep things going the way they're used to, thinking that this is going to get better. And I know people don't like to hear this, but I'll tell you, and this isn't dumb blonde talking, but I know because God has talked to me about it. We haven't seen anything yet. It will get worse. And the cost of being able to live comfortably or have the things you're accustomed to in life is going to be more than dollars and cents. So, yeah, you might want to think about things depending on what is important to you in life. You might want to think about things. So I'm going to leave it with that. I hope maybe, you know, I've entertained you, given you some ideas, maybe even said some things that you've been thinking too, and it's helped confirm that to you. So I love you guys. If you're watching these videos and you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate you subscribing, and that will allow you to get a notification every day when I put the new videos up. And make sure you hit that notification bell and hit all on it. I mean, all I do is a video each day, but in case I ever do lives or anything like that, I don't know, would I ever be that daring? Not without my brother Keith helping me. No way. So, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. So anyhow, if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you did. I love when you guys leave comments. Give me a thumbs up. It encourages me to keep on telling my stories and sharing my thoughts on things. And we've got 2 more left in this series, and we will get to my favorite one is the last one, actually. That has been one of the most important things for me. So you guys have a great day. I love you, and I will talk to you later.